the end of day 29 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry Tranche 2 Phase 2. We've heard all of Jessica's evidence now today. I'm joined by Claire Hildreth again. What do you make of what we've heard?
That last bit was really upsetting. Yeah. I'd like to see her.
Yeah.
And make sure she's all right. But she did really, really well. And I think I'm hoping she got to say all she needed to say. It was very powerful.
It was incredibly powerful, incredibly powerful. I mean, essentially, after hearing so much of the horrific things that Andy Coles did to her, I mean, just to be reminded that he's denying all of it, and
it makes it so much worse.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it so much worse. Yeah. I mean, he's. She talked about feeling that she has to fight to prove that she's not lying about it. That how deeply it affected her. She talked about the fact that she was 19 and he was 32. That the level of the exploitation, that just this older man had used her. She felt disgusting. I mean, it was just. I was in tears. It was just fucking horrible.
I was. Well, it's grooming, isn't it? There's no, and it's abuse, and the denial, and that was what came across really clear. The denial is just making it so much worse for her, and that shows that it's just the contempt again that he's got for her. I can't, almost can't find the words to express how I feel. It's just disgusting and horrible.
I don't know how much you'd have, how self-centered you'd have to be to still. I mean, it's like hatred almost from him. Do you know what I mean?
It's hatred and contempt.
Yeah.
I think it shows that police attitude to women.
Yeah.
It probably still exists. Well, it certainly exists with him, and it's. I don't know how he can justify it. I just think it just must think it's. I don't know. It's all right. It's all right to have done that, and then I think he's just making it so much worse.
So much worse. I mean, she talks about finding out he was a Conservative councillor and feeling that she had some sort of responsibility to warn people about him, that him being in a position of power, like he'd been in a position of power over her when she was so young. It was just so brutal. Before that, we've been hearing. Well, we've heard so much. We heard about how we saw her special branch files, reports about her, how just completely wrong they were. There was one part of a special branch file said that here's a new photo of her because she's changed appearance. She now has shorter hair and looks less feminine. We didn't actually see the photos ourselves, but it was pointed out she had long hair in the photo. I mean, there was.
That's weird. I don't know what was that about or supposed to achieve. It was a bit bizarre, that.
Incredible. I mean, it just showed how out of touch these special branch files are. There was another one that said that she was a regular attendee of an animal sanctuary in Brentwood. She said she'd never been there. It said that she'd first come to the attention of special branch in the June of '92. She was the November of. September of '92, that was it. But she pointed out she was already in a relationship with Andy Coles for quite a few months by then. It said she didn't have a passport. She was on her way to France. She was within a few weeks. She was living and working in France. It just really showed how this intelligence was nothing of the sort. I mean, there's no for all the. Disruption of her life, the interference in her life, the special branch reports on her aren't even accurate. I mean, it's just like a sick joke, isn't it? I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah, it is exactly. You've just said it all. Said it all. Really, it's most of the information is wrong. So, what was the point of that level of intrusion? And then sort of talking about her parents and just a lot of it's again very, very personal, not about animal rights. So that seems to be quite minimal. So there's a raid that was encouraged by him and even organised, yet there's all these other accusations that are baseless. Yes. It's just trying to justify what he's doing to his bosses, I assume, and make it like, look, I'm doing really well in my role, when it's not actually the case. Because people didn't trust him like they trusted Matt. And that's clear. I was thinking about that as well. It's just that's clear. So he's exaggerating and lying just to make himself look better.
I mean, it's something we've seen throughout is that the officers who did not make reports with lots of lurid accusations didn't do that well. And those who did, particularly Lambert and after Lambert, that seemed to do wonders for their careers. That, in fact, the way you get ahead is you set up your own little cell to go and do some actions, and then you make up a load of stuff about people and make out that those people who you've got close to are involved in a level of criminality which they're not. I mean, she was constantly being referred to as an an ALF activist throughout. As she pointed out, she was a hunt sab, and she went to animal rights demos. She wasn't involved in any sort of clandestine activity at all, apart from that one event which she did with Coles, because he organised it and convinced her to go. And it's that we really see the kind of like it's yet another one of these tactics that the undercover cops have got to further their own careers, to make them seem important, and make it seem like they're like really kind of getting into some secret world, but the reality is the complete opposite.
Well, it's like they're living their own fantasy, I think, and not just there doing a job and getting information. It becomes something for them and their egos, so they're feeling, don't know, this like great guy who's doing this amazing thing when actually it's not. It's a load of nonsense. It's just like a lot of lies. I'd like to know how much did they actually achieve by all of that intrusion into somebody's personal life and deceit and like we said, grooming. It's what is that all about? And that age gap, it's really it's upsetting to actually hear that. But I think she did amazingly well under the pressure to say that, like especially the stuff that she said at the end. That was really hard, and I think Mitting acknowledged that, didn't he?
He did. I mean, it draws to mind. We talked about this morning, but there's so many deeply personal things that she was asked about. There was stuff about the use of condoms. There was stuff about her being adopted. There's stuff, all the stuff this morning about her the death of her brother and stuff. I mean, it's an incredibly traumatizing experience to go through this level of questioning.
The whole thing is so intrusive, and just beyond, I think, what's acceptable to get, information. I don't know. It's just unsettling, actually. And some of it I knew, some of it I didn't. But I just think it's the effect on her. You can't quantify it, can you? It's it's just like piling it on now. I just don't know why he can't just hold up his hands. It would be better for him, actually. But it's like I don't think he's got the integrity.
No, I really don't think he does. I mean, I also don't think he's enough of a skilled operator to manage 3 days of being questioned by Barr about it and hold it. I mean, we don't know what he's going to say when he arrives on Wednesday. He'll be given 3 days of evidence, or the 3 days been set aside for evidence for him. We have seen when Vince Miller was questioned during tranche 1. I mean, he denied things going into the questioning, or played them down very heavily, kind of pretended it was a one-night stand or something. But then he had to admit when presented with the evidence from the woman, and he broke down. It was by video link, and admitted to what he'd done. I was really hoping we'd see that from Lambert. Lambert managed to keep the facade. And I think it's different because Lambert admitted to all the sex. He just denied the criminal damage and stuff, the criminal behaviour. But I mean, I think with for Coles to be able to maintain the lie through,
for 3 days potentially, it's going to be hard.
It's going to be incredibly hard, and he's creating a huge, a huge problem for himself. I think it'd be best for him if he just comes in on the first day and admits all of it. I mean. I
can't see that happening, though.
I can't see it happening either.
Somebody persuades him that it's in his interest that he listens, but I don't think he would probably listen if somebody said that to him.
No.
I think he's quite arrogant.
Yeah, I think he's very arrogant. Also, I mean, I think partially his current life really depends on it. Jessica mentioned at the end there how, she had supporters and friends of his telling her that she was making it all up and calling her a liar. I mean, he's invested in his version of events now.
Totally. That's exactly what it is. I don't think his friends are probably very nice either if they would defend that.
No, I mean the fact that he's a Conservative councillor, that he was a police and crime commissioner or deputy police crime commissioner, that was a position that he had to resign, was forced to resign from. He was
quickly. I think he had to resign from that.
Yeah, but he stayed. He was re-elected once as a Conservative councillor before he finally lost his seat to an 18-year-old girl. Which I think,
yeah,
it's fantastic.
She was still doing her A levels.
yeah. Which poetic.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. It's been a really heavy day. It always is a heavy day at the inquiry. We're back again tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got, I forget their cipher, but we've got one of the Brixton Hunt Sabs.
Oh, okay.
When we've heard so much about the fearsome reputation of the Brixton Hunt Sabs. So it'd be interesting to hear from them. I'm not sure if that'll be a full day. That might only be a half day. I don't know. And then next week we don't start till Wednesday, and we've got 3 days of Andy Coles before we go to the Christmas break. Anything else you want to add before we go?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, and thanks for witness yesterday. I mean, you were brilliant yesterday when you were called to give evidence, and it was really good to hear you, especially after all that time of Bob Lambert. You were absolute. It was such a tonic, after all that nonsense, But thanks for joining us. All right, thanks. I'll be doing a Twitter Spaces later on this evening. I don't know what time. Last night's was incredibly late. It was like gone 10 o'clock by the time I did it. I'll try and not do that again. But we're back again tomorrow. Please join us from 10 a.m. Cheers.